Riff. Intro art provided by Jeremiah Gardner.
Yeah, something like that.
Welcome back to the Riffspiracy podcast, everybody.
Yeah, that was synergy right there. That was a good one.
Yeah, I like that one.
We got some new entries.
Dude, this is the most professional. Our fucking... I gotta pull the label off.
Pull the label off. They ain't paying us yet, motherfucker.
They can't get it
We got these beautiful new microphones.
Yeah, these things look great, dude. Doesn't our set look at this? Look at us.
It looks legitimate.
The camera isn't blurry this week? We're laughing because it took us so long to do this.
Yeah, we were setting up for like 2 hours for this shit.
Jesus Christ.
But hey, we're here.
My wife and child are wondering.
My wife and child.
I think I abandoned them.
Yeah. He went out for milk 2 hours ago and hasn't came back. Little did they know you're not coming back, are you?
Oh no. Oh, I finally got it off. I finally have some water.
And Daddy's gone. I'm just a baby.
So anyway, we're gonna talk about
conspiracy theories. Yes, he's got a couple of things he wants to talk about, and I, like with any time we do these, I would like to talk about my fucking crazy mumbo jumbo.
Crazy mumbo. What do you want to start with?
Let's start with yours.
Dude, I'm gonna start off with a quick one because I didn't look too much into this one, I guess. But Elvis Presley, you guys, have y'all heard the conspiracy theory that Elvis Presley is alive? I've heard rumors that he's living in Argentina.
Argentina.
Have you heard this?
I just through the grapevine. Grapevine from you.
Through the grapevine?
See,
so this has been a theory for a long time. You know, you hear about celebrities being alive all the time. Tupac, Biggie, Elvis, Michael Jackson.
Tupac ain't dead. Biggie ain't dead. See, but it actually is confirmed recently that P. Diddy was the one that got Tupac and Biggie killed, and blamed Suge Knight for it. Shouts out to you, Suge.
Shouts out to you, Suge.
Oh, God.
But no, it's crazy. People think that Elvis is alive. And a lot of these theories stem from the fact that Elvis tried to work with the CIA multiple times. Like, he was very big in, like...
I want to help you get the reds.
Yeah.
I'm trying to help you get some reds.
He was very big in, like, the law enforcement, and, like anytime he went to a city, he would get deputy badges from, they would get given to him by law enforcement, of local law enforcement. And he had a collection. Yeah. That was, like, Elvis's thing.
I'm the sheriff around here.
Yeah, he had a collection of sheriff badges because that was his thing that he collected, I guess. And
that's from different counties. He's like, I fucked the sheriff's daughter twice to get this.
He even got deputized in a couple of different places.
Hell yeah, dude.
And he met with President Nixon about working for the CIA. He was like, listen, I want to get drugs off the street. I want to isn't that crazy?
He's like, I have no time for this. I have to Watergate.
Nixon decided to meet with him because he felt like Elvis was a voice of the youth at the time.
A voice of the youth.
Yeah, he spoke to the youth.
A voice of the youth.
And not long after, I believe it was weeks after he met with Nixon, he supposedly died. And people think that this had something, like he had something going on with the CIA and he needed to be undercover.
What's funny is like the voice of the youth, and then it's like right before he died, he was like fat.
Yeah,
just like fat, ugly cokehead, just shit himself to death. Had constipated so bad from the drug use.
Eating banana and bologna sandwiches.
Banana and bologna sandwiches. And
they were actually like peanut butter and jelly sandwiches with bananas and bacon on it or some shit. Like he was eating that shit. Yeah, actually, that's a thing.
Actually,
doesn't sound
I take back what I was finna say. I was gonna say, I'm glad you're unalive. Elvis Presley, you fat piece of shit. You had bologna and bananas? That's the gayest thing I've ever heard. That's gayer than sucking dick, guy.
Hey, if you eat a banana and bologna sandwich, that's gayer than sucking dick.
That's gayer than sucking dick.
5 minutes into the podcast.
5 minutes into the podcast. It's okay. We can bleep those out, I think.
No, but
Zoom in.
I did. Wait, let's do the fusion hits.
Yes.
Anyway, so yeah, like that was just a whole thing. I watched several videos. I watched a whole 15-minute video about it, and I wish I could remember more. I didn't watch it today. But I think I covered most of the points. You know, he was very big in law enforcement. He met with President Nixon.
Yeah.
He wanted so bad to work with the CIA. And a lot of people think that, you know, he went undercover after he supposedly died. And they were talking, talking about...
So anybody know where I can get some cocaine? And they're like, Elvis?
Elvis?
Is that you, Elvis? I thought you died.
You're Elvis Presley.
No, baby. I don't know. That's probably
One
a
of the-
bad Elvis impression, but
It was like if Michael Jackson went undercover right after he died. Like, you are the most famous dead person right now. Like,
what's up, y'all? Where can I buy a child at? Anybody know where I can buy a child?
That's crazy. But so a lot of people were talking about when his face was put on a magazine, like in the casket or whatever. I forget what the magazine was, but people were talking about how it looked like a wax figure. Like it didn't. Like that was a huge thing during Elvis's wake when people saw him. They thought he looked like a wax figure.
You ever seen somebody who was passed away like in a casket like that?
Yeah.
It does kind of look like that, doesn't it?
It does kind of look like a wax figure, but like it's that. I'm not gonna get into like the embalming process and all that. But it would make sense that they look like.
Yeah, it would make sense that you kind of look like you've had.
They don't want you to look like someone who just got fucking cut open. Like,
yeah. They don't want to make it look like you've been dissected.
Yeah.
Which is valid. Thank you, morticians. That's a hard job. I mean, I couldn't imagine being
a tough job.
So desensitized to unalive things.
Yeah.
That you just like. Why am I saying unalive? I just made a joke about Michael Jackson buying children. Why am I saying unalive? But
we're trying to monetize him.
Yeah. But imagine being so desensitized to something like that you can just like you're eating lunch while you're dissecting a person.
Oh my god, I don't imagine that they eat lunch while they're
Yeah. I don't want like my poor grandma. I'm like, Nana, no! There's just somebody eating a fucking 5-layer burrito on my poor grandmother.
But a big thing too is he had a brass casket. If anybody knows anything,
a brass casket?
Yeah, it's heavy as fuck. And people
What a cocksucker.
People point at the fact that he had this big ass, heavy, like extremely outlandish casket.
Yeah.
And like how heavy it was, and that the 6 people that were carrying it were struggling to carry it. They believe it's because it was a wax body in there, and it had some kind of coolant system underneath it that was keeping the wax figure cool. And every single person that carried his casket said, yeah, that's not what the fuck. That's not why it was so heavy. It was made out of fucking brass.
Yeah, it's made out of fucking brass. It'd be funny if it cuts to like photos of the funeral, and it's just like a brass refrigerator.
It's just a brass.
It's just a refrigerator. They're like, damn, why's this thing so heavy?
They open it up. It's peanut butter and jelly banana bacon sandwiches inside of it.
Yeah. They drop it on one end, and you hear them go, "Oh shit!" in the inside. Oh shit, mama.
Oh shit, mama. That's so funny.
I think. Oh, sorry.
A big part. This is the last little tidbit of this. And I wish I could find more about this, but like, it's literally just the one short that I could find on this, and I couldn't find any more information, kind of like proving it, I guess. But it was this single short, and it was talking about.
Thank you.
It was talking about Elvis Presley and how. There's this guy, like a lot of people have come forward and claimed to be Elvis over the years since he's died.
Me, I'm Elvis.
Yeah, this guy in a psych ward, he's been there since around the time that Elvis died, right? His name was David. I wish I could remember his full name. His name is David, and he's been claiming to be Elvis Presley for years now, but he's like out of his mind in the psych ward. A doctor
out of his Rizzler.
Out of his gourd.
Outside of my gourd.
And they finally, a doctor got a hold of him and said that his DNA matches Elvis's with a 99% certainty.
Oh my God.
Isn't that wild? A 99%. Yeah, 99% accurate to Elvis's DNA.
I just Googled how old would Elvis be today? 89 years old.
I believe that's about how old the old man is. He's like in his 80s or something. I can't
that's
remember.
Crazy. It says Elvis Presley would be 89 years old if he were still alive today, as he was born on January 8th, 1935. He died from a heart attack in his Memphis home, Graceland, on August 16th, 1977, at the age of 42. And that's fucking cap, because he's in Argentina right now.
Because he's in Argentina
with the Nazis.
Or he's in a psych ward.
Or he's in a psych ward pleading for his life. But at this point, like, you're 89 years old. You're at the end of your rope.
Yeah. Is that not crazy? I wish I could find more on it, but it was literally, I almost didn't bring it up in this episode, because it was literally just this one short talking about, oh, this guy in the psych ward has a 99%.
Oh, one of those things where it's like a fake podcast setup, and it's
no. It was literally like it was almost like documentary style. Like it was showing like through pictures and like all sorts of shit. It almost like looked like the analog horrors that we watch, like that kind of fucking stuff. And that would be crazy actually if that like tied into some analog horror and I just didn't even know. Like my phone was feeding me analog horrors through shorts and I didn't even know it.
Holy shit, this AI generated photo is real. I
it actually connects to Monument Mythos.
Yeah. It's actually part of Monument Mythos.
In that universe, Elvis is actually alive and in a psych ward.
Elvis, in that episode, in that universe, Elvis is gay.
And Elvis is gay because he ate bologna banana sandwiches.
Yes, exactly. So
anyway.
you know, I think where that whole thing of him being in Argentina derives from is just people.
I think it's because so many the party that we can't say from Germany.
The party that we can't say from Germany.
Yeah,
we
I
all
think
know.
so many of them flooded to Argentina that's like everyone's scapegoat when they think like Tupac and Elvis and everyone died.
They went to Argentina, obviously.
Obviously, that's where the German party that we can't talk about went.
That's where they're from, actually.
That's where
the German party we can't associate with, that we don't associate with in any way.
Why do you think there's so many blonde-haired, blue-eyed people in Argentina?
Yeah.
Come on now.
Yeah. I have an Argentinian friend. She's a very nice lady, brightest blue eyes in it, and she like.
That's amazing.
Me and her have the same complexion.
That's
but
crazy.
she speaks full-blown Spanish.
Why do you think that is?
Because her family is German. I don't know.
That's funny. But anyway,
I was like, what's funny is we may be related, and she goes, how so? Like I have family in Argentina.
Argentina. She looks at you. She's like, you're not from Argentina.
Yeah, you're not from Argentina at all.
I'm almost positive that nobody's from Argentina.
That's fucking hilarious. But that is interesting, though. I would like to think that is like Illuminati confirmed, real.
Illuminati confirmed.
Because I don't want anyone to have unalived on the toilet of a heart attack due to constipation from constant drug use.
You know, I would
hate that.
agree. I would agree.
I don't want to wish that on my worst enemy, unless you're the German party of people we can't talk about.
Then I wish that upon
that upon every one of you.
That's
just want to say it again. Riff Podcast does not go with any of the German party that cannot be named.
The next one I have to talk about
is the tunnels, right?
Is the tunnels. The tunnels underneath the United States,
the tunnels
you guys.
Underneath America.
This is crazy. Have you guys seen Us?
Have you guys seen Us?
By Jordan Peele? Great movie. Anyway, it has a little bit to do with what I'm about to talk about. The movie starts with a little tidbit talking about, it talks about like the number of tunnels that are in America that are just abandoned.
Yeah.
A lot of these, let me see if I have it right here.
I actually watched for a little bit of research, like the city of Chicago actually has been digging a whole, like tunnels, but originally it was for, something to do with preventing pollution in the city. Yeah. So like it pulled away. Actually, in Chicago, it's one of the only places where the river runs backwards.
Steam tunnels.
Yeah, steam tunnels. Yeah. And essentially, what happened was they in recent years they've started to develop another tunnel that's deeper. And what that does is kind of circumvent a lot of the water runoff and everything. Oh. Basically, what they're doing is it's for climate change and everything.
Tunnels and tunnels.
Tunnels and tunnels and tunnels. As actually, when they originally did that, and I believe the 80s, the first tunnels, it actually helped with pollution by like 85%.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's phenomenal.
Yeah, it like significantly improved. So anyway, it has nothing to do with the conspiracy though.
Us, like, you know, they have the whole setup. In Us, it's all about like these subway tunnels that turned into like these government facilities where they're cloning people, and it's like a whole fucking thing. That's neither really here nor there about the whole conspiracy theory that I wanted to talk about. But a lot of these tunnels in America are abandoned subway systems, abandoned mines from the 1800s, like during the gold rush.
Isn't shit like that terrifying?
Yeah, the abandoned mines and shit. Like, me and Andrew used to watch this one movie as a kid, and it's like these ghosts in the mines in the mountains or something, and they're like kidnapping people, and it was like, it's the most horrifying.
Oh, it's a Stephen King thing where like the town is taken over.
It's one of the most horrifying movies I remember watching.
And the sheriff is the guy who plays Hellboy.
Is he? That's crazy.
Yeah, because the sheriff who's like, I got to take y'all in, and he takes them to the town and locks them up in the cell.
People are screaming every night or something because like the kids, from the mining kids, are like kidnapping people Yeah, I think that's exactly what I'm talking about. And some of these abandoned tunnels have like no clear purpose of why they were made. Some of these abandoned tunnels, it's crazy because it was talking about during the Cold War. Those are some of the most recent tunnels that were recently abandoned in American history. They built so many bomb shelters, and some of them are just like these tunnels underground. Like the video I was watching about it was talking about this school, this entire school that was built underground as a bomb shelter. It's a bomb shelter school in California, and it was so that the school could evacuate into a bomb shelter if we got nuked. Isn't that terrifying?
And they still have to learn?
And now it's abandoned. Now there's an abandoned fucking tunnel system like that that's the size of a school, just underground. Is that not insane?
You know, the urban exploration shit, I see every now and again when I do watch those videos,
urban
I see stuff like that.
exploration scares me sometimes because you see some crazy shit.
You get the old silos, you got the still water. Still water is so terrifying to me.
Yeah.
Just like the thought of like that water has been sitting there for decades and decades, just eating away at everything, and underneath, like the silo would be flooded, and you walking down these steps, the steps break, and you go down, and it's just like on all seemingly infinite, just
oh my god,
just silo of and you like as you're like imagine floating down, imagine sinking down, and you can see like houses, like living quarters, and like cafeterias, and you have books, like something as eerie as similar with finding the quarantine school or whatever. Like,
oh my god,
you have that almost innocence.
Hospitals and schools that you
that'll be underground, and it's like it's like innocence lost, like the eeriness of going to say an asylum, and you see an old school desk, and knowing that like what was there or what the implications of it is very powerful.
If you guys remember, there's a scene where the main character, she's walking through the hallways underground, and she finds a classroom. There's like empty desks, and it's like all abandoned and shit.
I'm just checking to make sure the mics are on. Sorry.
It's horrifying. So the next little tidbit I have is about mole people. If you guys know what mole people is.
Well, but before you do that, I'm sorry to cut you off. Have you seen that video where the fella's talking about how he worked in that secret Starbucks?
Yes,
under LA.
We talked about this the other day.
Right?
Yeah. The tunnels in LA, that's a thing apparently.
Yeah.
It's like they're talking about how you never see a celebrity
just
stuck
driving
in traffic.
around. Yeah, just stuck in traffic. Unless you're JoJo Siwa, but that motherfucker right there wants to be caught in traffic.
I would understand why she wouldn't be allowed in the underground tunnels with the celebrities. The other celebrities don't want to associate with her.
Yeah.
But basically, they were talking about how like all these celebrities have like access to these underground tunnels that they're able to take, and it'll take them straight to LAX. It'll take them here, take them there, and their Starbucks is down there where none of the celebrities have to pay. Like, and if you work at this specific Starbucks, you have to sign an NDA saying that you can't talk about the fucking underground Starbucks, which is wild.
Yeah.
And a guy just talked about it recently on a podcast because his NDA just ended or some shit like that. I don't know how much I actually believe that one. That one's really interesting, I feel like. And I would believe that there's like underground tunnels for celebrities maybe in California. Yeah. But I don't know if there's Starbucks down there. That's kind of weird.
And I know there's stuff like underground entrances and stuff like that for certain stadiums, and
the guy was like trying to prove it too, and they said something about like, his interviewer was like, "You saw Seinfeld down there?" And he's like, he says Seinfeld's order, like that proves anything? Like, how do I have any way of confirming that?
Yeah, like, double shot and a bagel. And they're like, no, sir.
What does that prove? What does that prove?
What does that prove?
What does that do for me right here?
What does that prove? That you're anti-Semitic, sir? No, that proves that you have anti-Semitism in your blood. Super fucking
So the
funny.
next little tidbit I have is on mole people. Mole people are people who live underground in these abandoned tunnels. I also just listened
like homeless folks that just like
there's homeless
almost like the underground homeless population in Las Vegas that live under the city of Las Vegas.
Yeah, similar to that. So it's homeless folks. If you've ever watched As Above, So Below, there's like a similar situation going on with that, where there's like people living underground. As Above, So Below takes place in the UK, and it's in the fucking catacombs where they keep all the dead bodies from the plague. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So As Above, So Below kind of talks about, you see at one point in that movie, there's people living in those catacombs, like in the parts that you're not supposed to go into, and that's like, it's a very small tidbit of that movie. A lot of that movie is about like haunting and like the 9 circles of hell and shit. And it's kind of irrelevant to what we're talking about here. But it is.
But it's very, very much a real thing that there are catacombs, or people who live in the catacombs.
Yeah, it's a tourist attraction. You can walk through there, but there's sections that are sectioned off. You're not supposed to go through there, and it's believed that those sections are like haunted and all sorts of crazy shit. Really.
Yeah, imagine getting lost under the city of Paris. You're under the entire city.
London.
What no, they're under Paris. The Paris.
Am I wrong? I said UK originally, but
yeah, the catacombs in Paris.
Oh,
there probably are. There probably are tunnels underneath London as well.
I guarantee you, there's tunnels.
Yeah, I guarantee you. Same thing with New York City. I mean, New York City is oversaturated with
this time last year they found tunnels that the Hasidic Jews were tunneling for.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah, that was the
that's
whole
right.
thing.
The underground tunnels that Hasidic Jews use.
Yeah, they dug into.
Jeremy, no, we're not taking a subway today. I don't know. That was a shit.
We're taking the express route.
We're taking the express route. And they sit on a little sled pulled by mole people.
Pulled by mole people. They're paying the homeless.
Hell yeah. They're not paying the homeless people.
Another tidbit about the mole people is it was like in the 70s or the 80s, but they discovered a mob boss underground. This was like in Europe, but in some of the catacombs in Europe. But they discovered a mob boss living underground. He was running from the law, and he was just discovered down there. And they fucking arrested. But he was wanted. He was like fucking. I don't know. It was a whole fucking thing. But that's interesting, right?
They
just found a mob boss down there in these fucking tunnels.
just somebody who's running the show, like dealing DOPE all throughout that part of Europe. And I don't know why I'm trying to censor myself. We just made a Hasidic Jew joke.
You're allowed to say Hasidic Jew.
yeah. I'm allowed to. I mean, right. Anyway, but.
I have a little tidbit here about deep mole people. Deep mole people are basically people that live in tunnels made even deeper than the tunnels that were abandoned. Like they're making tunnels on tunnels, basically. Kind of like what you were talking about a minute ago, but like they're kind of making their own tunnels and going deeper. And like, isn't that crazy to think that in America there's probably someone, like some homeless fucker or something,
homeless fucker
living so deep underground, like they're burrowing a tunnel below a subway system.
Yeah,
like,
and just very, very happy to be there.
Yeah, very happy to be there for some reason. It's crazy.
I'm trying to find these gentlemen's names.
So another tidbit I have is about the subway systems. A lot of these subway systems were left behind during the Great Depression. It was like a whole thing had started. They were making these subway systems, and then the cities kind of had to abandon these projects because the Great Depression had just started and no one has money to finish these subway systems.
Yeah.
So now they're just abandoned and filled up with homeless people and mob bosses and crime all over the place. Like, they basically, the video I was watching kind of talked about how, like, they have their own ecosystem of crime. Like, there's not really laws down there because there's no one to govern anything.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, and I'm sure it's complete anarchy.
It has to be, right? Like, and one of the things that I had talked to my mom had talked to me about, she wanted me to talk about these tunnels because if you look at a map of like some of these mapped out tunnels in America and compared to a map of human trafficking, the highlighted spots for human trafficking directly correlate with some of these tunnels. And that's fucking crazy. Like, clearly they're being used for crime. A lot of these tunnels are, at least.
Yeah, and honestly, like from a criminal standpoint, if I were to put my mind into the mind of a criminal,
if you're wanted that far, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
If it's like, why wouldn't you go in these tunnels?
Yeah, why wouldn't you? And I mean, the cartel. The cartel definitely uses them.
100. That's another thing is like there's a lot of people talk about building a wall at the border. There's so many tunnels that go through the border. Like, they're not. A lot of these people aren't coming here across where a wall would be set up. They're coming here in tunnels and over airplanes and all sorts of different ways other than where this wall would be. And there's just so many underground tunnels. It's like, the more I looked into this, it's kind of mind-blowing how many tunnels there are just around.
Absolutely. Yeah. And they got that giant bunker under the Denver airport.
Yeah,
and all that jazz.
Yeah. Those are probably the craziest ones to me. Is like the bunkers that were just left behind after the Cold War.
Yeah.
Because
just left
I didn't
for us to
realize
find.
how massive these bunkers were. Like the one that's the size of a school is crazy. Like, could you imagine one that's the size of Paulding County High School or Hiram High School? Like, that is a massive fucking bunker of just tunnels and shit.
Just tunnels, and imagine just being like a silo.
Imagine
the thought of an underground abandoned silo is terrifying to me.
Imagine going down in there and like it's like you're walking through your high school, but you're underground and it's like that big and it's just completely empty. Like, that's terrifying to think about.
Yeah.
And like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's you're going to come across a mole person, and that blind bastard is going to
that
eat
blind bastard is
you. He's
going.
going to eat you, and thank God I was blessed with what I got down here, or else they would breed me to death. No doubt. I don't want to be Baraska'd in any sense.
I don't want to be Baraska.
I don't want that to happen to
great
me.
callback. That was a great
Yeah, great callback, right? Go check out our episode on Baraska.
I'm gonna zoom into your face when you said
Ding.
that. Ding.
Ding.
What's the next little tidbit I have? Oh, I love this one. Back in 2012, a cult was found underground, and it had been there for over a decade. From 2012. So that means it had been there from the early 2000s, like Y2K, around that time. This fucking cult had moved underground.
So you said like
70 people, 27 of them children, which means over 40 people decided, hey, let's join this cult, go underground.
and have babies.
And have babies. That's the craziest part about
How
the
do you
children.
deliver a baby? How do you deliver a baby underground?
That's the craziest part about the children is it said most of them, or these children had spent most, if not all of their lives underground.
That has to be
27
detrimental to an infant's.
Imagine being a small child, like
You've never seen daylight?
being roughly 10 years old in 2012 and coming outside to the real world for the first time. Imagine
You've never
that.
seen daylight. You've never seen like regular people. Like imagine seeing a Hasidic Jew for the first time. And he'd just be like, whoa, hold up, there are other people, and also these guys got curly fries on the side of their head. What the fuck?
I don't think they would know what a curly fry is.
Oh, that's right, they wouldn't know what a curly fry is.
Yeah, they wouldn't know, yeah.
They would think,
They would like, oh, look at those curly fries. And also, look at those curly fries they have on the side of their heads.
hey, by the way, I just figured out what curly fries were. Everything looks like a curly fry to me.
Everything looks like a curly fry now. This is crazy. Why is it so bright up here?
Yeah, why is it so bright? I'm wearing 2 pairs of sunglasses, and everyone's gay. I don't understand.
I thought we were supposed to marry our cousins or something.
Listen, I've been fucking my cousin for 10 years. My mom and dad are related. I have a learning disability. I didn't know you didn't have to fuck your cousin.
A cult deep underground with that many people is crazy to me. That is like the most insane tidbit I've heard while I was looking into this whole thing.
That's insane. That is insane.
Yeah.
Underground cult. I'll look more into that because I think that's insane.
Yeah, I'll send you the video after this. Kind of going back into us though, what was going on there was kind of like a government fucking facility thing, and that's the next little thing. Is a lot of people assume that there's like sinister, unknown motivations with government-made tunnels. A lot of people believe that some of these tunnels are being used by the government to make unknown government bases that we just don't know about.
Unknown government bases.
And this kind of leads into what you were going to talk about.
Maybe bring in unknown aerial phenomenons, recovered crash pieces. And you're right, Kyle. That does directly lead me into what I was going to talk about. Sorry, I see the little red light.
That was kind of nice.
That was a nice segue.
Yeah.
There was a congressional hearing this week. Well, I guess this will come out. It's coming out Wednesday.
This is going to be
Wednesday. So it's Monday, the 18th of November right now. So last week, 5 days ago, it was like last Wednesday. Or whatever. There was a congressional hearing. It was on TV, television. Some of you might have seen it.
It'll be a full 7 days by the time this episode.
By the time this episode comes out, it'll be about a week since it happened. A congressional hearing.
I thought that was going on today.
Oh, no.
Whatever.
But 4 different members of the military who were like fairly high-ranking members, I want to say, they all came out and talked about the UAP phenomenon, right? and they're talking about how they've been running secret operations, like trying to crawl back.
They switched it to UAP because like UFO is like what whack jobs use.
Yeah.
I fucking hate
UAP makes it sound more legit, and also like as you hear these people talk about certain things, there's like UAP. What is this? There's like UOS, which is unarmed orbital. Something like that. Like it's like real. There's so many different types, right? And there's are honestly a ton of organizations that are used to look into these things. Like Arrow, I believe, is one. AROW.
Yeah.
ARO maybe. Things like that. But these four men's names, I got it pulled up right here. These four gentlemen named Tim.
That's like a fucking Marvel.
Yeah, right. That's something like Marvel shit, like Shield or whatever.
Yeah.
Sword.
Synergy.
But synergy. But Tim Gaudet, retired Rear Admiral of the U.S. Navy, and he's the CEO of Ocean STL Consulting LLC, right? Whatever that means. Right. Luis Elizondo, author and former Department of Defense official, right? Michael Gold, former NASA Associate Administrator of Space Policy and Partnerships, member of NASA UAP Independent Study Team. This motherfucker right here, he said, as the saying goes, the truth is out there. We just need to be bold enough and brave enough to face it. That motherfucker straight up, and I believe this was a gentleman who says straight up, he goes, ladies and gentlemen, let's face it, UAP are real, UAP are here, brother. Here, right now, here, right now, here, right now. Zoom in on that. That'd be fun.
There's gonna be so much zooming in on this. It's okay. It'll be okay.
But
at least I'm not editing a video to fucking match the sound of whatever the fuck we're watching. That's so
true
much
that.
more difficult.
And the last fella's name was Michael Schellenberger, founder of Public, a news outlet on the Substack platform, whatever the fuck that means. I'm not gonna. He ran some 214 pages, including a lengthy timeline on UAP reports from 1947 to 2023, right? And so one thing that that was also brought to my attention. I believe it said in 2023 there were 574 reportings of UAPs, right? And 27 of them were actually unable to be explained. You know, sometimes it's like debris, or maybe it can be written out as a bird, whatever. But 27 instances.
Donald Trump has been president-elect for 2 weeks, and you see what happens.
You see what happens? And honestly, dude, that guy right there, Trump said, I will let you know everything that there is to know about these. Like he said he's going to put, and I will tell you.
He gave Elon Musk a job.
Yeah.
That's
Elon,
so funny.
Thank you so much, President Trump. I'm going to find aliens and we're going to fuck them on Mars.
I forget what his official job title is, but it's basically like he's the guy. He's the official get shit done guy. Like,
hello, my name is Elon Wolfgang Kennedy Musk.
My name is Elon Musk.
Doesn't Elon Musk look like his fucking username would be Wolfgang Kennedy? Yeah. Jesus Christ, with some asterisks and a phonics. But
I don't know. He's like, I don't know. My name is Elon Musk.
My name is Elon Musk. And
you know that's how he talks, right? He's got Asperger's. He talks like
yeah. He's like, we all know why I'm so smart. But these four gentlemen, they testified in front of some congressional members and everything, talking about how not only do we have non-biological material, but we also have biological material. Yeah. Not only that, right? He's saying some of these UAPs are manned and unmanned, and some of the unmanned are material like not necessarily metallic, but like for instance metallic, and also biological,
biomechanical, like a xenomorph.
So an unmanned ship is biological, and they think that they are theorized because they're trying to back engineer this stuff, right? Right, isn't it?
That's it.
They're
If you
trying to
all know
back
what the
engineer.
Yuuzhan Vaughn is, check out
The
below.
Yuuzhan Vaughns.
Yeah.
But they're trying to back. Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
They're trying to back engineer this stuff, and he's saying like it's basically like an arms race right now to see who can back engineer this shit the fastest and use it. Because essentially, and what they talked about too. I'm sorry, I'm getting like crazy. I should be wearing tinfoil on my head for this.
That's crazy. What if it's because like what if that's how like hyperspace works, is like it's these creatures that are like biomechanical in nature, and that's what fucking
that's what
how
allowing
aliens
them
are
to
fucking
come back and forth.
Yeah, they like create fucking like the whales in Star Wars, like some shit like that.
Yeah.
What if that's how they're doing it? That would be crazy.
Yeah, the space whales.
Yeah. If you guys like Star Wars, check out below.
Yeah. Check out our up and coming Riff Ranch.
Fucking leave us a like,
Wars.
comment.
Yeah, like, comment, subscribe.
Yeah.
If you think Kyle's gay,
Hey, wait, what?
it's me. I'm the gay one. Anyway, but they're trying to back engineer all this stuff, and he's talking about how they believe that some of these beings are multidimensional in a sense, right? To where they can like these spaceships, these unmanned biological spaceships,
and
like the succubus, succubus. I hardly know her.
What I'm trying to say is I'm trying to get into Air Force.
I'm going to sneak onto an Air Force base and I'm going to have sex with an extraterrestrial, whether they like it or not.
Jesus Christ.
The Air Force base, not the being that I'm trying to fuck. The being that I try to, it'll be consensual, but the Air Force will not be letting me in consensually. I'll have to sneak in. I'll have to sneak in through the tunnels so I can go fuck an alien.
There's gonna be a language barrier at first, but we're gonna make it work.
Yeah, and that is actually another thing they were talking about. There was a question that one of these members of Congress, I believe her name was like Louise, whatever. I cannot remember her name to save my life. I'm sorry, I don't have more credits. But she asked if
I love
there
it
has
when
been
Congress members have a psychological breakdown and reveal fake shit about aliens.
Yeah, I love it when they're like, please tell me this is real. Anyway, so she asked if there has been any communication, and what the gentleman who replied to her, I believe it was Michael Gold, who was a gentleman who was doing most of the talking. He was saying that communication, really and truly, it is like this. Communication can be, it doesn't have to be verbal,
right.
You know? It can be through like just showing what it is. Like say a Russian plane comes into U.S. airspace, and then you do a maneuver that like basically is like, hey, this is what we can do to you, motherfucker. There's two of us right now. We're gonna split you and fuck you. And then they're like, all right, I'm gonna get out of American airspace. That's kind of like a nonverbal agreement saying that, like, or like they go to scramble their radar and being like, this is what we can do. We're gonna get you. Don't fuck with us. You know. So basically, these UAPs are doing that with us. They're being like, hey, guess what? Like full on, like fucking up flank maneuvers, like messing with. I don't have the right words for it because I'm not a military guy.
Yeah.
But like figure eight, like airplane figurations, like they have to fly in a certain. Anyway, so he's talking about how they've basically have started up communication in that sense with us, where they're toying with us and they're being like, we can do this, no matter what you got. Motherfucker, we got it.
Yeah,
we can kill you.
And like it's also three-body problem where they fuck up.
That's exactly what I was fucking thinking about.
With something the size of a fucking raindrop.
Yeah. It's insane.
Yeah.
So, moreover, another thing they were talking about is how these UAPs, some of them are being recorded at such a high G-force. It is physically impossible to get one of our planes and our people to go as fast as we go. I think the fastest jet we have goes up to like 12 Gs, right? And 12 Gs, and that's like full blast, full going, and that it can only go so far before there's technical difficulties within the plane, right?
Yeah.
He was stating that some of these UAPs that have been caught on camera are recorded of going up to 300 to 1,000 Gs of force. That is physically that is so fast that gravity moves around you as you're flying. That is so fast to move, to change
it's like
the
whole
gravitational.
Video that we talked about this before in one other conspiracy episode, but it's like the guy was talking about.
Yeah, Bob Lazar.
Yeah, it was at Air Force. It's like the video where we talked about this before, but it's like the guy, you could see it on the radar, and it's like he's flying, and there's an unidentified flying object or whatever, and it's like heading towards him.
It stops and then goes.
It stops and goes like a different direction. It's like doesn't even turn around. It's like and the amount of velocity and the G's that would like be put on something like that, it's not possible with the technology that we have.
Yeah, absolutely
something like that is not.
Absolutely not, and not to be like super tinfoil hat about it.
To make like a what is that called? Like a
tic-tac maneuver.
Like, yeah, something like that. To make a pivot like that, it's like fucking, it's insane. Like that's not feasible. That's like some fucking Iron Man shit.
Yeah, that's like 100% impossible for us. And with that one too specifically, those are old videos. You can look them up on YouTube right now.
Yeah.
The tic-tac videos. That's what they're called. So. It goes from, I think it's about 5,000 feet in the air. It's like he's above it, 5,000 feet in the air, the UAP is, and then he drops all the way down to sea level. Gets level with the sea.
That's exactly.
Shoots. The UAP anticipates, flies a mile ahead, anticipates.
Fall like that and stop so abruptly,
so
it's impossible.
And then flew forward to the rendezvous point of the two planes. Knew where it was going to go. Flew there and waited, taunted these pilots.
Yeah.
And there's countless every year. There's even
pilots coming forward about
pilots coming forward to talk about it. There's even a forum, like an actual where you it's almost like a registry, not a registry. That's a weird name for it. It's essentially like I saw an alien hotline, and you're like, oh, hey, I'm reporting
my alien
baby. Yeah. I'm reporting alien baby registry is crazy.
Let me know if you guys want to buy anything for a claim yarn.
Hey, I fucked this space slug. Now I got an obese baby if you want to help me pay for it. Not with my taxes. Anyway. But there's a database where
now
these
to
people...
emphasize our point, I actually brought aluminum foil for us to put on our head.
yeah.
Because that's how we sound right now. But I swear, I don't know what point I was trying to make.
That should be the outro and a blooper.
And a blooper. That's going to stay in right here. I'm going to duplicate that scene and then put it in at the end because that was funny.
But yeah, essentially, and this, once again, is still a huge conspiracy, and there's a lot of things that are up for debate and everything, and I'm not saying that there are actually aliens in the ocean, which I forgot to mention that. What Buddy was saying is that
the biomechanical ones,
they've been here in the oceans, apparently. They've just been here. And the thought of aliens not being from...
shit.
Right. Like, the thought of aliens being from elsewhere, another world, that is like fine to me for some reason. But the thought that there is these other creatures that are
fucking
here,
Atlanteans here.
Yeah, if there are really creatures here from another maybe point in the universe, and they're currently sharing this world with us, that to me is more terrifying than them being just out there in space, because they've been here and they've watched us, probably had a hand in our development for a significant amount of time.
Yeah,
maybe
they're the reason we have PS2s.
And I'm not saying that aliens built the pyramids, but what I am saying is, what if they was around to help build the pyramids?
So that kind of segues into what I was going to talk about next. Was them building the fucking pyramid. Look, I'm saying.
Hey, look, hear me out.
So scientifically, I feel like it's proven. It's like, I guess it's a theory, but I feel like it's proven. There's so much evidence that ancient Egyptians did not build the pyramids.
Absolutely, that's a 100% fact.
Yeah, ancient Egyptians is like 4,000 or 5,000 years ago, 6,000 years ago. I'm not a fucking archaeologist. I don't know exactly what...
I'm not a fucking architect. I don't know where the fuck they came from.
I don't know exactly how far ancient Egypt is, but I know it's a couple thousand years ago.
Yeah.
And if you look at the pyramids and you look at the temples near the pyramids, they have water runoff from like the time...
Yeah, the erosion. The erosion lines on the Sphinx.
Yeah, they have erosion lines. And water has not passed through that part of Egypt for over 9,000 years. So that means that these things would have had to have been created before ancient Egyptians.
Absolutely.
By another civilization.
While there was a great amount of
these things were overtaken.
Flora.
Yeah,
right?
These things were overtaken by the ancient Egyptians. They found them and then claimed them.
Yeah, they found it and they were like, oh shit, we're going to live here.
Yeah. And if you look at like the preciseness of how the pyramids were made, and it's like I forget. I wish I looked it up before we did this.
All this ancient technology would be great for us to take over a specific group of people and make them work for us for free.
But I forget. So like first of all, the limestone, the fucking
the limestone that it's cut from. The limestone that it's cut from
1,000 miles away.
Yeah, in a completely different country.
Yeah.
In a completely different part of Africa.
Yeah, and isn't that crazy to know?
Yes,
that
Africans are Egyptians. Or Egyptians are Africans. I mean, deal with it.
They are Africans. That doesn't mean they're black.
I didn't say those. I didn't say Afro-Americans.
No, but that's the argument. Is like, are Egyptians black? And like,
I guess they can say it. They can say the thing you're thinking about. They can say that.
Anyway,
we can't. They can.
So the limestone's from 1,000 miles away. And it's crazy because if you look at the dimensions of the pyramids, this always blows my mind whenever I talk to people about it. But the exact dimensions of the pyramid, the height, the fucking diameter, I can't think of all the different fucking, the width and all that. It's exactly, it's the exact dimensions of the earth. It's like the diameter of the earth, the fucking height, everything divided by a specific number in all directions.
42.
I don't. 42. Yeah,
that would be crazy if it was 42.
0.42 or some shit like that. I forget exactly what it is, but it's like, and then turned into a pyramid rather than it being spherical. But
spherical.
And what's even crazier is that same number. If you take that, so each corner of the pyramids point almost true north, south, east, and west, and the amount that they're off by is actually that number that you would need to divide the earth by to get the dimension.
Really?
Yeah, is that not fucking crazy?
That is fucking nuts.
Yeah, so like you would need like crazy knowledge of like the dimensions of Earth in order to fucking.
You have to be very aware of, the planet.
Yeah.
And that time, and they did not have that. Like there's no. As far as we know,
I guess like the true north, south, east, and west thing, that could be like an astrology thing. Like you could kind of choose north, south, east, and west and get those corners correct based on like the stars and shit. But the fact of that it's like almost perfectly aligned, like in all like in all of its dimensions, it's almost perfectly aligned to like a certain amount of Earth's dimensions divided. That's crazy.
Yeah, that is mind blowing.
Yeah,
that's mind blowing. Also, another thing too, if for anybody who's watching this and you're interested in conspiracy theories, not necessarily that Graham Hancock is a conspiracy theorist, but he's an archaeologist I love listening to.
Explains all of this that I just said much better than I did on the Joe Rogan
Graham
podcast.
Hancock.
He also talks about it on Flagrant. If you guys check out Flagrant, he does a really good. I don't know. Go check out Graham Hancock and all of his different fucking interviews that he's done.
And just the stuff that he has to say, his theories are
very profound.
It's very profound. And there's even times where he's had discussions. I've heard him have the discussions with people, and then he comes back, like it'll be a year or two later, and he's like, "Yeah, you know what? Actually, that person was right because this and this wouldn't have worked, but I still believe in this." And he talks a lot about the Clovis period. He thinks that like North America has some of the oldest known, not North America, but the Americas have some of the oldest known pieces of civilization.
Yeah.
Because they're using LiDAR in the Amazon to find these new old like Mayan, not Mayan, but like these Mayan-esque temples and shit like that. And also, and if you don't know
he talks a lot about the Younger Dryas. Which
the Younger Dryas period. Yes,
everything freezing over and then kind of like wiping out a large chunk of humanity, and then like some of us lived, and then that's what kind of restarted civilization. My mom's kind of been learning about that recently, and she's starting to believe in that shit. And I also told her, it's so crazy. Like on top of
and the whole thing of them all like migrating to Alaska, like a bunch of the animals and stuff, the megafauna in Alaska, like they've found so much of like stuff that shouldn't have been in Alaska. Like there's no reason why. Like there's that one place like
unless it all froze over.
The Mammoth Graveyard or whatever. That fella who had he bought the land to mine gold, and there ended up being no gold but a ton of old ivory from megafauna and shit.
That's crazy.
Insane, brother. You tell me that ain't fucking crazy. You tell me that ain't fucking crazy.
Another big thing I talked to my mom about, I don't know that Graham Hancock necessarily talks about this, but a big thing I believe in is a great flood that probably wiped out most civilizations. We're kind of going.
He does talk about that. He does talk about that.
Kind of going into the next thing I wanted to talk about, because the next thing I had was like
my shit is fin to die. I ain't gonna lie to you.
Oh, I'm almost done. But kind of talking about Atlantis. So I believe there was some kind of great flood, because if you look at religions and civilizations all over the world, so many of them have a story of a great flood, like Moses and all of that shit.
Yeah.
And it's all over the world. So like there must have been some kind of great flood that fucking
there must have been something of the sort. I mean, and even if it was a great frost that led to a great melting, which rose the water levels, but it would have been the same thing, a great flood. And it's always a similar thing. I wish I had names to give you, like the big biblical archetype of Noah. Then there's another one. I don't believe it's not Enoch, like but it's something like that.
What is it? The sages in China. I can't remember what it's called, but it's like a whole fucking religion, and it all begins with a great flood and shit that happened in China. I wish I knew more about that off the top of my head, but like I know that's a thing.
And that is a common pattern. Is like same thing with like a savior and the great flood, and very like a lot of things that are in the Bible are also in numerous cultures across things, shit that's been around since before God made the earth, the heavens and earth. You know what I'm saying? Like,
it's crazy.
It's crazy that you're gonna look at me and be like, the earth is 2,000 years old.
The last thing before we close it out that I want to talk about is the Eye of the Sahara in the savannah, because the savannah apparently
needs to be very flush. With greens.
Ecologically, it goes through phases of being a desert and being flushed with fauna every 20,000 years or so. It goes back and forth apparently. And if you look at the Eye of the Sahara, where the legend of Atlantis comes from, it wasn't Plato. It was Plato's like 16th uncle or something. Like he's 16 times distantly related to this relative that went over to Egypt and met the ancient Egyptians, basically. And they told him the story of Atlantis. So the city probably wasn't even called Atlantis, because that's just what the ancient Egyptians had called it. Like, that's what they knew it as. But this was a legend to them about a great civilization, something that occurred before, that they knew as Atlantis. And this city had fell underwater. That's how the story goes, at least. And if you look at the description...
Crazy.
If you look at the description so apparently Atlantis, from what Graham Hancock has said, is that Atlantis was a whole empire, and the capital of Atlantis is described as having 5 rings. I believe it's 3 of water, 2 of land. And if you look at the Eye of the Sahara, it's this massive fucking natural looking crater almost, and it almost matches that description exactly. So it has circles. It has 2 land rings, and then it has water erosion in like what would be 3 different rings going around those 2 land rings, exactly the way that Atlantis is. Last thing, and I'll close it out. But yeah, so much of what is described for what Plato was told from his ancestors and shit of how Atlantis looked, it matches the description almost perfectly of the Eye of the Sahara, which is crazy to me. Like that to me
I have
has to be the Atlantis. Like that has to be where this civilization once was, and that's just insane to me. I think
it's crazy because I've made fun of people for believing that the Earth is flat, and here I am. I just said that aliens built the pyramids, and we're both over here like Atlantis is real, and it is, and it's in the Sahara.
I believe it has to be real.
It has to have been like there's some sense of it that is true.
There has to be some truth to the myth, I believe.
Yeah.
I don't believe that it necessarily fell into the ocean. Or
I'm not saying that fucking Namor and Aquaman are doing gay stuff in the ocean and they want to take over the world. No, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is
a major city built by a massive civilization before ancient Egypt. I think that's real.
Absolutely. I mean, you know how many times civilization has died off and built itself back and died off and built itself back. I mean, I'm positive that there were definitely different types of humans. But like there had to have been other stuff going on. There's all that time that we've missed. There's no way that we know everything.
I believe whatever technology, and I'm using the word technology very loosely, but whatever technology they might have had prior to like the ancient Egyptians, back when like Atlantis might have been a thing, and like when they had these massive civilizations, I believe it had to be different, because we know like Plato and Aristotle and people like that as like being the people that created math. And if they're the ones talking about these legends of Atlantis and shit, these like these super ancient civilizations had to have like some crazy other thing.
Some root in reality.
They're
pre-math.
Yeah, that's crazy to think about, isn't it? So like, what kind of fucking
Back
technology?
when geometry was philosophy.
That's so funny. But anyway, I think we're gonna close it out with that theory. This was a fun episode.
It was a fun episode. I do want to point out the well, I guess I lost my train of thought, but yeah, it's a lot of this stuff is based in a lot of fact. I mean, I'm not saying like the tunnels part, but I am saying that there is always
I believe
root
the tunnels
of
part.
oh, there you go. But there's always a root of truth in all of these things, in any kind of conspiracy, anything like that. There's some root as to why this thing is happening.
100%.
Like the QAnon thing was a troll fake thing, but it ended up being very true. Like I'm not saying that QAnon was true. Let me take that back. What I'm saying is it brought up things, and you're like, oh yeah, it's saying Donald Trump is the Messiah, but it's also like Epstein has an island where they do this and that and the third, and it's like, yeah. You know, he's not the savior of the world, but also Epstein did do this. So it's like a toss up. There's always truth. It's probably a bad example, but there is always
take everything
truth.
with a grain of salt, but also listen to what the fuck is being said to you. And
form your own opinion. Don't listen to a couple of douchebags tell you things that they think is real and you say that they are real because, hey, what we believe is not what you believe.
Exactly.
And you should take multiple parties in and absorb the information and do about it with what you want and what you will. You know what I'm saying? We love it. We love you.
We love
and
you.
We need you.
Viewers like you.
This episode was brought to you by viewers like you.
Thanks, guys. We love you. We need you.
Yes.
Bye, Mom.
See you later,
This has been the Riff Ranch
Podcast. Signing off.
Hey, Bailey. Hey, Kyle. It's me, Tank Dempsey and Steve Bloom cosplay. What's up, you beautiful bastards? Ooh.